Hey, what's up guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Gishki deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because this deck is basically make Gishki, Zelgigas, and then be able to draw cards and shuffle cards on the field back into the hand, or back into the deck, I mean. And this deck is really good at doing that, making a 3200 beat stick and summoning multiple copies of it, which is a lot of fun to be able to do. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next to become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description because we have some awesome rewards for you guys, like getting your name in the description of every single video, getting a signed card sent to the mail, or even getting to request a deck profile just like this one in every single month that you are a patron. So let's get straight on into this one. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Gishki Zelgigas. If you guys didn't know, Gishki actually means in Japanese ritual, which is kind of cool. But what this card does is basically you ritual summon this card with any Gishki ritual spell card. And then once per turn, you pay 1,000 life points to draw a card, and if you do, reveal it, and then if it was a Gishki monster, shuffle 1 card from the field into the deck. It does not target or anything. It just immediately shuffles it into the deck. That's really cool, and we play plenty of Gishkis in the deck to actually resolve that effect. Then we play a single copy of Ivagishki Gustkraken. Gustkraken is just a good 1-of in the deck because it's limited to 1 still. And what it does is when this card is ritual summoned, you get to look at the 2 random cards in your opponent's hand and shuffle 1 of them into the deck, which can help you get rid of resources out of your opponent's hand, which is really good. We play 3 copies of Gishki Shadow. Gishki Shadow lets you ritual summon exactly 1 water monster, using this monster as the entire tribute. And this card also has the ability that you can discard it to add a Gishki ritual spell from your deck to your hand, which is really good. 3 copies of Gishki Vision. Gishki Vision can be used as the entire tribute for 1 water monster, and it also has the ability that you can discard this card to add a Gishki ritual monster from your deck to your hand. That's really good to be able to just immediately add those cards from your deck to your hand. Then we play 3 copies of Gishki Beast. Gishki Beast lets us, when it's normal summon, target a Gishki monster in the graveyard that's level 4 or lower, and special summon the card in defense position. This card can help out with the XYZ plays or Link plays as well, which is really helpful. We play 3 copies of Gishki Abyss. Gishki Abyss lets us, when this card is summoned, you get to add a Gishki monster with 1,000 or less defense from your deck to your hand, which could be, actually, Zelgigas, because Zelgigas has 0 defense. So this card searches pretty much the entire deck except for Beast, I believe. I don't think it searches Beast, and I don't think it searches Gustkraken. No, it searches everything but Beast. So this card is really good, just a normal summon, to be able to immediately grab anything out of the deck, which is super cool to be able to do. So that's it for the Gishki monsters. Let's get into the other cards that we play in the deck, which is the Impantation Engine. So for the Incantation monsters, what we're going to be playing is 3 copies of Incantation Chalice Slime. Chalice Slime is really important in the deck because it lets you reveal it, discard a card, and if you do, special summon an Incantation monster from your deck. So it lets you get the exact Incantation monster you need out of the deck when you need it. But if you don't ritual summon this turn, you lose 2,500 life points, which is not good. Basically, it smacks you in the face for not ritual summoning, which is kind of sucky, but you're going to ritual summon unless your opponent prevents you from doing it. And you can send an incantation card from your hand or face from field to the graveyard to target 1 face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is really good too, but it has to be on the field to resolve that effect. But it's really good and really easy to summon because we do play the Incantation Ritual spell, which is not hard to get out in the deck. We play 2 copies of Talismandra. Talismandra lets us reveal a ritual monster in our hand, special summon both this card and an Incantation monster from the deck. And if this card is special summoned by the effect from your deck, then you get to add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand. We play 2 copies of Kandal, which does the exact opposite. You reveal a spell in your hand, and then special summon this card and then an incantation from your deck. And if you do, special summon this card from the deck, you get to add a ritual spell. We play a single copy of Bookstone. Bookstone lets you reveal a ritual spell, special summon this card and an incantation from the deck. And if you do, you get to target a ritual spell in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. And a single copy of Pencil Plume, which lets us reveal a ritual monster and special summon this card from the hand. And if you do special summon this card from the deck, then you can target a ritual monster in the graveyard and add it to your hand. Basically, the way these work is you special summon 1 and it follows behind it, or you special summon the second one and then you resolve particular particular effects, like adding a ritual monster, ritual spell, or adding a ritual monster, or ritual spell, or ritual monster from your graveyard to your hand. These add from graveyard to hand, these add from deck to hand. That's why you play these at 1 and these at 2, because that's pretty much how you're going to add. We play 3 copies of Ash Blossom as well, just so you don't have to deal with hand trap, or just so you can give your opponent a little bit of a surprise when they try and add from deck to hand or do anything in their deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're playing a single copy of Monster Reborn. It's just a really good extender in the deck to help you get out your monsters back out of the graveyard. Like if you use something for a ritual summon, you can just use this card to essentially give you another play, which is helpful to get like a copy of your Gishki Shadow, Gishki Beast, or anything that you have out of the graveyard. Usually what I use this card to get back is my copies of Gishki Abyss, because Gishki Abyss lets me add anything with 1,000 or less defense that's a Gishki monster from my deck to my hand, except another copy of itself. But it doesn't say it's once per turn. So that's really helpful, because you can use cards like your Monster Reborn or copies of Surface to bring it back from your graveyard to your side of the field to immediately resolve its effect again. So that helps out a lot. We play 2 copies of Salvage as well. Salvage lets you target 2 Archer monsters in graveyard with 1,500 or less attack and add those targets to your hand, which is literally any of your Gishki monsters that are not ritual monsters, because Beast is 1,500, Abyss is 800, Vision is 700, and Shadow is 1,200. But you can't add the ritual monsters, which is kind of a shame, but you can add any of your other monsters, which is nice. 1 copy of Impantation Inception. This card lets you ritual summon any monster, but you basically just use this card to ritual summon your copies of your Gishki, or not your Gishki, but your Incantation monster, the Incantation Child Slime. But sometimes you will ritual summon into your Zelgigos, because this card can ritual summon into it. And it has the ability that if this card can be used to ritual summon any ritual monster, but you must tribute incantation monsters from your hand or field whose total level equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. But something I will point out to you guys is, if what you're normally going to do is summon Talismandra and your copy of Kandal, and these 2 are level 10, right on the money with what Zelgigos is. So it's really easy to resolve and get that Zelgigos out with that effect of those 2 monsters, because you're already searching one of the 2 cards that you need, and then this card basically comes in clutch. And if it's in the graveyard, you can send an incantation card from your hand or face on your field to the graveyard, except another copy of itself, to special an incantation monster from your deck and add this card from your graveyard to your hand, which is helpful as well to be able to resolve those effects. We play 3 copies of Gishki Aquamirror. Aquamirror is basically the ritual spell that you're going to be using to It's basically the ritual spell that you're going to be using to ritual summon into your Zelgigos and Gustkraken all the time. Because what this card does is you ritual summon by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose total level equal the level of the ritual monster you're trying to ritual summon. And you can shuffle this card from your graveyard into the deck and then target a Gishki monster in your graveyard and return that target to your hand. Which then you can just use Shadow or Vision to discard to re-add from deck to hand, which is really cool to be able to add from deck to hand again. And then we play 3 copies of Call by the Grave, because Call by the Grave stops our opponent from doing all sorts of stuff against us, like any hand traps, which is really pivotal to the deck, because you're trying to get your copies of Zelgigos to resolve, and it does draw from the deck. And so there's some cards that just stop you from drawing from the deck that are hand traps, and so that's really, really, really important. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, I don't touch it that much. Mainly what you're trying to do is summon 3 of your Zelgigos and then shuffle everything on your opponent's side of the field back into the deck, or back in the deck by paying 3,000 life points, and then you just swing at your opponent with the 30 or 6,900 on your side of the field, which can be really, really easy to do. But basically that's what you're trying to do with the deck, so you don't really need the extra deck all that much, but it's here just in case you need it. So first off, we're going to be playing a single copy of Juggernaut Libi. Juggernaut Libi basically is here because you can overlay 2 Zelgigoses into one of your train monsters and then overlay onto this and swing at your opponent for 6,000 multiple times, which is nice. Number 81 basically is immune to everything, so you play this card as a 1-of. You just play, this isn't a number, this one's a Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. Inflicts that additional 2,000 damage to your opponent, because if you can't summon all 3 of these and you can get 2 of them out on the field, then you can, at the main phase 2, overlay into this and then immediately detach one of the materials and give your opponent an additional 2,000. Basically, it's kind of like Cowboy for game in this deck because you can go into this card during main phase 2. We play a single copy of number 35, Ravenous Tarantula. This card is crazy because if you're going to be paying a lot of life points and you can pay all the way down to 1,000 life points with your Zelgigos and just keep drawing, because it is once per turn, but if you do draw multiple times off this card by having 3 of them and pay 3,000, then all your monsters gain attack points equal to the difference in your life points and your opponent's life points, and this card reduces your life points. So Ravenous Tarantula really helps out that because it does use that ability to increase all of your monsters up by the attack or by the difference in your life points and your opponent's. So if your life points are at 1,000 and your opponent's is at 8,000, then you gain 7,000 on each monster, which is getting really big. It also has the ability that if it has XYZ materials, when your opponent special summons a monster, you inflict 600 points of damage to your opponent, and then once per turn you can detach a material from this card, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls with less attack or equal to this card's. So at that point you just have to use the Zelgigos to pop spells or traps if you know that this card is going to come out on the basically on top of 2 Zelgigoses. Then we play a single copy of number 41, Baguska. It comes in sometimes with your copy of Beast, normal summoning, and bringing you back a copy of your Shadow. But you don't usually, like I said, go into the extra deck all that much. Daigusto Emerald just to shuffle stuff back into the deck so you can draw a card and keep using your resources. Abyss Dweller helps out because it increases all water monsters by 500. Now this is something I actually go into a lot in this deck because it does increase all your water monsters up by 500, and it just helps out a lot. You have to keep in mind that since you're playing incantations, that you can't go into the extra deck all that much, but it does come up where you go into this. One copy of number 60, Timeless. This card lets you draw a card and discard, or draw 2, discard 1, or double the attack of a monster, which is Zelgigos doubled, is 6,400, which is a lot. Bahamut Shark, just to be able to special summon Toad, because you do play water monsters in deck. Toad comes in super handy because it can negate stuff. And then for the Link monsters, we're playing Boral Sword, just to be able to attack over stuff and OTK our opponent. Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avermax, because you can make it sometimes. One copy of your Phoenix to pop spells and traps. A single copy of Mistar Boy, because it can help out with increasing the attack of your water monsters. And a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn, because Nightmare Unicorn bounces stuff off your opponent's side of the field. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, you don't really need the extra deck all that much, but it does come up sometimes where you do need the extra deck, like Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is something that I summon a lot, and the Ravenous Tarantula is something I summon a lot. Those are the only 2 that I really always go into when I play this deck. But it's not even every duel that I go into those. Sometimes I just summon 3 Zelgigos, and I'm like, okay, I've got game, and I swing with all 3 and win. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely hit that bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and check out the Patreon down in the description for those awesome rewards. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.